Hello, Niblin first graders. Today is Tuesday, May. We are in the month of May. Tuesday, May 5th. Yesterday, you should have gone to Niblin and picked up all the things from your desks in your lockers. And then you should have gotten one last packet from your classroom teacher and from me that says LLI on it. And those are the things that you will be using for the rest of this month. There are 4 weeks of learning left. And so I sent home some books that you can practice reading. You should choose one book each week and read through it and practice it several times. And then there were also some paper pencil things for you to do. You can choose 1 or 2 of those each week. And also to continue reading your sight words. You should practice those every day. Maybe read them to one of your brothers or sisters or to mom or dad. So you have lots of things that you can choose from to work on. Today we have a fictional story called A House for Hermit Crab. The author of this book is Eric Carle, and he has written many books. He's one of my favorite authors. In this book, we are going to read about a hermit crab over the course of a year. And so each page is a new month. It starts in January, and then it goes all the way to the next January. So we're going to read what happens to the hermit crab each month. Hermit crabs, as they grow, they get a new shell. And so he outgrows his shell several times in the book and needs to find a new home. So it's called A House for Hermit Crab. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug, too tight. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. And so then we're going to go to the next month. What comes after January? February. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside it to see how it felt. It felt just right. Kind of looks like a snail's shell. But it looks so, well, it's so plain, thought Hermit Crab. So January, February, now we're at March. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. That's what these are, sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain. It really needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. So March, next month is, if you said April, you're correct. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the sea floor. Here are the starfish. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, said a little starfish. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. What comes after April? It's the month we're in. You should have said May. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, which means very carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So May, then comes the first month of summer, June. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went on, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and how hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. his shell's going to be full pretty soon, but he's got lots of friends. So we're in June, then comes, if you said July, you're correct. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. How fierce you look, which means mean. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. Now, June, July, we have August. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It is so dark, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, murmured the sea anemone. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, said the sea urchin. Now we have July, August, and we are into September, when we would go back to school for the year. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. How bright you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you be willing to light up our house? I would, replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. So now we have October, which is when Halloween is. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you? Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now, my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. All those friends, he's got a wall around his house. The next month, October, comes November. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little, over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another, bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I leave them? Now we're at the last month of the year, which is December. In December, a smaller hermit crab passed them by. I have outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. So it was one entire year, 12 months. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon, he found the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. So the story will begin again in January when he starts, or in February when he starts collecting new friends for his bigger home. So what I would like you to do is listen to the story again tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, and then write about how his friends helped him decorate his home. For example, you could say the snails cleaned Hermit Crab's home. Okay, and the lanternfish helped light it. So write about some of the things that the other animals did to help him with his home. Thank you. Have a good week.